Goeiedag, we gaan dit. G'day guys, my name is Wildkard. Yeah, URC Semifinal, Glasgow Warriors versus the Bulls. I don't know what to say, guys. I haven't seen this much choking since the Corn Hub got suspended here in Australia, and this was really, really painful to watch, and not in a good way. And what can I say? I feel like wasn't that long ago I watched the national Scottish team play one of those most amazing game against French, at the so-called Scottish Gas Murrayfield. And for me, I thought that was a pretty bad finish for that team. It showed me that the players weren't mentally able to push all the way to the end, allowing the French team to come back almost within striking range to secure a bonus point despite the huge lead they had earlier in the game at the Six Nations. And this game, once again, was pretty much, in my opinion, a reflection of the issues that is plaguing Scotland rugby, especially at the highest level. There's an over-reliance on just a few key players like Tui Pelotu, Kyle Stang to deliver the results. And if they are, feeling a little bit disconnected, suddenly your team falls apart. And I think that's exactly what we saw today with the Scottish team. Obviously, the bench has to play their role, and there's just a lack of depth on the bench as well from the Scottish side. In terms of game plan, the two teams has pretty different, like a very strikingly different game plan. The Scottish team rely more on their back set piece, rely more on going wide, right? Whether you can argue some that the game plan is the right game plan or not, but at least the Scottish team understood that their strength lies out wide, their strength lies in Tui Pelotu in that 12 channel, and then very often, and sometimes I disagree with the strategy, they go wide and they just kick the ball down the field. Almost like the French do with Bielbieri, but they don't have that speed advantage. Stang and who is the other guy didn't really have the same speed as, Bielbieri, and also you have to consider the Bulls has got like Curly Ardensa, right, and Willy LaRue covering some of those kicks behind. I question if that's actually the right decision at all, but they did that so many times. They go wide and then they just punt the ball down the field, and then they don't really have the speed to follow that up. And it's just like a bunch of those opportunities were kicked away. So that was the first problem: over reliance on that center field, on that center on the back line for the Glasgow Warriors. I do think it's the right, it is where their strength lies, but the way they executed it in terms of the way they kicked the ball away was not the right way to go about it. The second problem with Glasgow Warriors, and I think this transitions up to the national team for Scotland, is the lack of depth off the bench. I mean, they put on 5 players off the bench with about 15 minutes left in the second half, and they've literally taken off like Dempsey and Xander Fagerson. Both are, look pretty tired, to be honest with you. They've taken off over maybe 150 test caps for a bunch of players that didn't have any test caps. Pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me. A lot less test caps, that's for sure, if not zero. And only for the players come on to lose the scrum, lose the breakdown, and then just what's the point? You kind of ask yourself, what's the point? If you're going to do this strategy, we smashing on a huge group of players, almost like a bomb squad, putting everyone on the field at the same time, and only to just immediately getting dominated at scrum and dominated the breakdown, the two key areas you need to win. Kind of again, what's the point? And that it's again the development path, it just hasn't followed up to the level that is required. And if you look at the Bulls, they had Marco van Staden, the Springbok, off the bench and was just turning over the breakdowns left and right, and he was just absolutely destroying the Glasgow Warriors in that key area, especially late in the second half. And also Hastings, is it what's his first name? Adam? I literally screamed and sweat at the at my computer screen, when he failed to pass the ball a number of times coming off the bench, right? And he just hits his head and not passing the ball. And here's something that if I was to compare the Glasgow Warriors to the New Zealanders, because New Zealanders plays a very similar style, especially if you look at the Hurricanes and the Crusaders, they like to spread the ball out wide. And one of the things you will notice from New Zealanders is that they get the pass away with very, very, very small margin of error. On the rush defense, usually they're under tremendous pressure, only got a split second, but they still get a pass away. Whereas if you look at the Glasgow Warriors, especially when it was very glaringly a problem, the problem become very glaringly obvious when Hastings came on, he just hesitating on the pass. And sometimes he had the time to throw the pass away, space out wide, and he gets caught midfield. And then suddenly your whole game plan of trying to use that space out wide is just not there, and he just completely get nullified by the rush defense. And again, it's a skill issue, I think, just not quite followed up from the people off the bench. And as well, like, if you look at the Kiwis, they are able to get the ball away in a much, much smaller margin almost every time if you were to watch Super Rugby. And another problem is the follow-up. If you play this wider game, if you do make a line break, if you do find a bit of space, and this is the problem I see it from Tuipulotu himself, he gets the little nice pass away, sends someone through a gap. He kind of just goes, got my job done. And then he's kind of just looking at maybe do a clean out. Whereas if you watch the Kiwis, they get the ball away and they're immediately like sprinting after the player to try to get the inside ball, a follow up or outside post, offload, and they usually follow that into a try. Because once the line break, the line break or the little heartbreak that you created is like the most difficult part, and the follow up is like the hard job is already done, and the follow up is super crucial to get there and follow through to get the maximum distance out of it, or potentially a try, because that's where you actually broken the defensive line. And there was a number of times the Glasgow Warrior players just like pass the ball and there's a line break or a half break or whatnot, maybe a bit of space. The inside ball would have done would have probably sent it to a try. No one was there to follow through. Again, is this a skill issue or is this something strategically they haven't even? Yeah, I was surprised that if they were going for this sort of strategy by going wide, that they didn't follow that through. So I was surprised to see that from the Glasgow team. Now let's talk about South Africans. Is Henry Pollard going to make the Springboks? Like, honestly, look me in the eyes and tell me, is he actually going to make his Springboks? Because that was pretty bad. I mean, he missed 3 penalties and one conversion. All 3 penalties were, for international test level, should have been 100%. None of them was, really out of the question to if you missed one of them, would have been too much. And he missed 3, and there were ones just criminally easy that he missed right in front. And let me tell you something, with the greatest rival tour coming up, the Kiwis are not going to miss that. They've got kickers nowadays. They're not going to miss that. So that was really, really concerning. The Bulls have played, I think, the same strategy as the Springboks. Forward dominance, scrum dominance, just like wear and tear grinding style of rugby. A lot less box kicking efficiency from, in terms of, the Springboks up and under and getting Curly Arlenser to chase that. They didn't quite do that nearly as much. They do have the speed out wide with Arlenser, and they got Kaner Moody in outside center as well. But they didn't really follow that through. The box kicks are just not really quite. Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't set up that a little bit more. They do have the forward dominance, do have that pressure from their forward pack, to try to assert dominance on the breakdown, which played out really well. Only for the penalty to be missed by Pollard. Come on. And also, I'm glad to see that, the Bulls kicked 3 points right from the beginning and to see 21 in retaliation. I don't know how many times I talked about this. The team that kicks a 3 seems to fall off after kicking the 3, but that's at least I can, it's consistent all across the world, I guess. So one of the things that we have to kind of talk about is that if with Sasha Feinberg injured, you've got Pollard not delivering the penalty, the goal kicks that you're looking for. Who's going to be at 10, right? Obviously you've got Mamanda the Bok still available, and then you've got Smith, I think his name is, plays for the Cats, still available as well. And then obviously you've got the greatest Springbok in the history of the Springboks, right? David Willemse will be going on at 10, right? And now I know a lot of you guys have blocked that out, that David Willemse actually played 10 for the Springboks a number of years ago, and it wasn't that great. But hey, don't block it out. Just open up a little bit and let's think about what is happening here for the Springboks, right? With all the injuries and especially with Kwagga Smith, I think it's actually a really good thing for the Springboks. And I think Rassie will take this opportunity as a way to... He will be grateful for this opportunity instead of thinking it as a hindrance to his team, because this is actually a great opportunity for him to try a new style of rugby for the Springboks, something that he likes to do anyway, right? And now, listen to me. 2 things I think that the Springboks would do if they can't really reliably have 100 Pollard at 10, even as a reserve, I think they might just go for a complete switch, right? They can have, man of the block to be in the A team, the Springboks, A plan. Let's just call it A plan, not A team, but the A plan, right? Your traditional Springbok A plan, man of the block at 10, bit of flair, bit of goal kicking. And then I think then the plan B, right? The B team, the famous Springboks B team, the B plan, what's that going to be? I don't think it's going to be Smith. I don't think they're going to try to bring 100 Pollard in and at his current state of goal kicking. I don't think they'll bring that in. I think they're going to transition to something completely different. And here's my idea. I think Rassi, and here's my prediction, I think Rassi will look at Grant Williams, how quick this guy is at 9. I think he's going to try to get him to play as a playmaker out of the 9, like an Anton Dupont style. Keep in mind, for 2 reasons. Number 1, you've got Esterhuizen, right? Andre Esterhuizen with his stupid beard. He's at open side. And one of the things you have to understand is that the fact that he used to play center, any sort of prop and locks around the rock is a mismatch for Esterhuizen. And as a result, Grant Williams will have access to literally the outside center right next to him at the rocks. And that, in my opinion, creates a lot of, could potentially create a lot of opportunities for the Springboks if they want to play, set the game, do the playmaking out of the 9 and have Willemse just go to 10 and basically play like a 12 at 10. So think about it. They will have Esterhuizen at 13 playing around the rocks as a 7 or as an open side flanker at 6. And you have Willemse at 10, essentially the inside center at 10, both at the disposal of Grant Williams. And I think that is something that they can potentially create something out, have something special going on there. And I think that's going to be the plan B, the B team for the Springboks. I don't think they're going to bring Polo in, in the current state of his goal kicking at all. So let me know your thoughts of how you feel about that and how the Springboks is gonna set up for their team. Outside of that, is there anything else I want to talk about? Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think that the Bulls fans will be pretty happy that Glasgow beat them at the Champions Cup in the quarterfinal. I think it was in the muddy rain that they won that one. That was a bit embarrassing for the Bulls to lose that. They were leading, and then Glasgow kind of pulled it back. But this one's pretty sweet, revenge, and how they managed to not win this with more points, and how the Glasgow choked so hard is for the historians to take a look at and figure that one out. But anyway, let's have a look at the match stats of the game. We've got 21 points to 22, 3 tries apiece. We got 48% possession to 52, so more for the Bulls. 6 offloads to the 5, 453 meters gained to 387. So the wider gameplay definitely yielded more space for the Warriors. 12 clean breaks to the 3, and they could not follow that through. This is what I was talking about. With 12 clean breaks and you could not score more tries, shows me that the breaks weren't followed up by inside support for offloads. And that is criminal. That is criminal for them to look at. 14 defenders beaten for the Warriors and 20 for the Bulls. That's quite a lot. 41% territory to 59%. 171 tackles made. 20 missed tackles for the Warriors. 135 tackles made for the Bulls. 14 missed. A pretty decent overall percentage rate. 81% equal. Turnovers, I don't know how these numbers read. Let's just move on. 26 kicks in play for the Warriors. 28 for the Bulls. 706 kick meters to the Bulls. 759. So quite a bit of long-range kicking going on there. Lineouts, 14 lineouts for the Warriors. 0 lost. 12 for the Bulls. 1 loss. I think it was not straight. It was 1 call maybe. But the lineout was pretty shaky, to be honest, for the Warriors as well. Like the lineout throws. Yeah, the lineout throws not straight from, what's his name? Puebla, I think his name is. Wasn't that that impressive at all. Scrum, 6 scrums for the Warriors, 1 loss, 6 scrums for the Bulls, no loss. So you can clearly see the fatigue was a bit of an issue for the scrummaging as well. The scrum started off quite even. Both teams weren't budging, and then as the game developed, Fagers, and you can just tell the fitness is a bit of an issue. The scrum's starting to get pushed back a little bit, and then when the reserves came on, just got absolutely run over. Like, it was horrendous when the reserve scrum came on against the South Africans. 1 yellow card for Warriors, 2 against the Bulls. Yeah. So the Warriors, so the Bulls, one of them is 100 Pollard for deliberate knock on, and then I think there was Kanan Moody had a yellow card for, was it? For repeated penalties, I think. And then for the Warriors as well, I think it was repeated penalties as well. Or was it I think it was repeated penalties as well to get that yellow card. I can't remember, but yeah, there was definitely one for 100 Pollard for deliberate knock on though. 13 penalties, consider that's quite high nowadays, and 9 for the Bulls, for the Warriors. And it's criminal. Like, you don't get all the, considering how many penalties you were given, not missing 3 penalty goals and still won the game. I mean, it would have kicked you. Pollard would have been under a lot of pressure if he lost the game. There 7 attack penalties to 2, defense penalties 6 to 7, scrum versus 3 and 0. Yeah, that's a lot of scrum penalties given away for the Warriors. Now let's just do a quick recap of the game. So 3 minutes in, it's 3 minutes in, what do you call it? There was a is this 3 minutes in? Oh, sorry, 6 minutes in. There was a penalty for the Bulls, and 100 Pollard kicked this one, 3 points to 0. And I literally wrote to myself, is this gonna be like a huge, are they gonna retaliate 2 tries, 3 after this for the Warriors? How many tries are gonna concede after this? And sure enough, a few minutes later, 100 Pollard delivered knock on, yellow card, and Warriors follow on this through with a line out, quick ball out wide to Stain, some nice little backdoor passes, and then getting out wide and staying into the corner, 7 points to 3. 18 minutes, another, just utilizing both full width of the field, went down the left-hand side and then swung back to the right-hand side. Again, 2 below 2, found himself a nice space out wide, and then little setup for Stang on the inside, who went in for the second try, 14 points to 3. 24 minutes in the game, there was a 22-meter line out for the Warriors. There was a penalty try for a yellow card somewhere, but there was a line out, 22 meters. The Glasgow Warriors just marched through like the whole way, all the way to the try line. It looked like it was held up, but Nokia entered the rack from the more from the side, and then second yellow card to the Bulls and a penalty try. So 21 points to 3. 30 minutes in the game, the Bulls had to just go for the try with 14 players on the field. Lots of tap and goes and more penalty advantage going back to more tap and goes, but eventually pick and drive from Huebla winning for the try, 21 points to 10. And that's the halftime score. Second half starts 3 minutes into the second half. Repeated penalties. Matt Cummins got sent off for a yellow card for repeated penalties. And then with the player in the bin, the Bulls went for the 5-meter line out. The ball, a fake ball came out quick. And then the few crashes midfield got pretty close. And then the number 9, Papier, is that his name? Pick and go and went over for the try line. 21 points to 15, and the conversion was a miss. A pretty easy kick, to be honest with you. 21 points to 15. 52 minutes, Hanekom gets another try for... not try. The Bulls had spread the ball out wide to Hanekom, and he ran back in field just ran through 5-6 defenders. It's almost looking like a center there, Hanekom. He got pretty close, and then a bunch of more pick and goes, and then Francois Klopper picked up the ball. Is that his name? Klopper went in for the try, 21 points to 22. And from 52 minutes onwards, not a single try was scored. Could you believe that? The 65 minutes, there was a penalty for the Bulls and missed. 68 minutes, another penalty for the Bulls, missed. 70 minutes, there was another scrum penalty for the Bulls, missed. So 3 missed penalties after that. But the Warriors didn't even get a chance to kick a penalty because the forward dominance from the Bulls and the scrum just really struggling all around. And like I said, Hastings came on and really disconnected the back line with that on that 23 jersey. And lots of choking here. Let me know your thoughts. 21 points to 22. Thank you for watching. I gotta go watch the the Leinster game and see who's Leinster or who's Leinster versus Stormers. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Cheers.